I think probably the best way to describe my purpose in life is to make a difference in the lives of others. It wasn't until I got to college that I realized that it was something more than just going to church and doing things. It was actually being an active participant and having a stronger relationship with Jesus. And when we came to Spring Arbor to do a campus visit, it was pretty obvious from the outset that this was the place that I needed to be. Spring Arbor is a great place for students not only to get an education, but to get in an environment where Christ is the focus and people understand that we were going to make a difference in the world. Not only are we teaching students at Spring Arbor how to live their life and to make good decisions, but we're also talking to them about the perspective that they have and not simply making decisions based on what is the best outcome, what's the best alternative to look at, but what makes the most impact and the greatest difference in the world. Here at CODA, I get an opportunity to work with families that are facing probably the most difficult time in their life when their child needs a transplant.
I found out at my 20-week ultrasound that there was a problem with Ryan. It was just a shock. I wasn't expecting that. It was a very emotional time. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with him, what the problem was. I'd never heard of it. So
what we do is take the burden of finances off a patient family.
We work with families from all over the country. Literally, we have patients in 49 of the 50 states right now. And I think every family comes to us with a very unique set of circumstances, whether that's a different type of organ transplant, kidney versus bone marrow versus lung.
I knew from the very first phone call that they were going to be able to help us. And it was actually a burden lifted off of me and my family, because we were wondering how in the world were we ever going to pay for a kidney transplant.
But we also come to the table with families that are in different economic situations. So some families have full Medicare or Medicaid coverage and have very low income. But other families have great income but have horrible insurance.
Ryan spent the first 61 days in the hospital, so we had all the bills piling up. And our social worker at the time had mentioned CODA, and our fundraising goal was $65,000 for my son to have his transplant. And we, with the help of CODA and giving us the resources that we needed, we were able to actually raise over $75,000 within a year's time period.
And so I spent a lot of time talking to social workers, financial coordinators, people that work in the medical field, and talk about how we can help their patients and to meet the financial burdens that they have for a transplant. And then lastly, I spent a great deal of time working with volunteers and supporters of CODA.
And Rick is a visionary. He is great at strategic planning, and he cares about every patient that comes to CODA. He wants to help every patient that comes to CODA, and he wants all of us to do our best to see that those patient families have their needs met.
CODA cares. The people that work here do really make a difference. And whether that's, again, fundraising or if it's just being an emotional support that they need, we're here for them at any time.
CODA cares about the children they help. I wholeheartedly, CODA is the best organization that we have ever been involved with.
Probably the greatest joy I get from my job is that whenever a new patient starts to work with us, I actually contact each of the parents and walk them through what's going to happen. I ask them, what can I tell you that maybe you didn't know or that you'd like to ask that next level of detailed question? And at the end of that conversation, after we've gone through some of the difficult things that they're facing and what will be ahead on their transplant journey, I actually tell each family member that we're going to be praying for them.
He's not afraid to tell a patient family, I'll be praying for you through this. And not only does he tell them that, he does it.
They told us, if whatever you need, we will be there for you. And that was very reassuring during a difficult time. It was just nice to know that there was someone who cared.
That probably is the most important thing that I do on a daily basis. It has nothing to do with fundraising, it has nothing to do with the medical side of what we do here at CODA, but it really does make sure that those families know that we're standing right next to them.
Love is a good word. Love and support from them. You know, you may not work with them every day, but you can tell that they genuinely, they care. And they love what they do. and they know that they're helping others.
The people that make up who Spring Arbor is the difference between what the institution is about, and not simply the buildings, not the education itself. It's the whole picture that Spring Arbor brings to the table, and that all comes about because of the people that are there. And it's an incredible place for students to grow up and to mature.